Oops. Okay, let's open up the chat here. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Uh-huh. All right, cool. I just want to make sure everyone can hear me okay. If you can't hear me, please put a message in the chat here. And okay. All right. Okay, I just need to make sure that the streaming is set up and make a few changes, and then we'll get started in just a few minutes. Okay, cool. Okay. All right, great. Everyone can hear me all right? Cool. I'm gonna leave the chat open. So I'm just finishing getting some technical kinks worked out. But I wanted to just start with all of you. I just want to see how you're all doing. You know, what's going on? Where are you located? Everyone can hear me all right? So I'm just finishing getting some. Aha. Okay. Yeah, so I'll start. So my name is Jenna, and I'm currently in Detroit, Michigan. And I'm from here and currently based here for the time being during all the crazy stuff that's going on. We're pretty much stuck at home 24/7 for the past 2 weeks and going forward. So wanted to just see, you know, where some of you are joining from and how things have been going over there. They've been pretty crazy here.
Well, I'll go next. I'm Steve Clay. I work for IBM as well, and I'm here in Austin, Texas, where we're having a thunderstorm today. So, but other than that, it's pretty much like it is for everyone else. We're all pretty much at home, yeah, that sort of thing right now. So.
Anyone else like to share where you're at? You can also just put it in the chat if you're more comfortable with that.
I'll go next. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes.
My name is Ron. I'm from Clinton Township, Michigan, Southeast Michigan. And I have a home office. So I'm in my command center and I am drinking a cold frosty beer.
Mm. Very nice, very nice. Who's next? Let me look in the chat. Put some stuff. Very cool. Mia's dog isn't liking the thunderstorm very well in Austin. Round Rock. New York City Metro. Drinking ice water. I should get some ice water. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. I just want to make sure. Do you see any differences? Do you see screens moving or do you see one thing?
We're seeing a presentation, looks like.
Very good. Cool. I don't have my separate monitor yet. So everything's stuck in Austin. So I just want to make sure. All right, very cool. Very cool. So let me move this one out of the way. Okay. So do a little warm up with myself and the other IBMers that are here helping out. Okay, cool. All right, figuring out all of the moving parts here. My name is Jenna. I'm a cloud developer advocate. I moved from Detroit to San Francisco to attend a coding boot camp in 2017. And after I finished boot camp, I attended dev boot camp. I got really involved in hackathons and spent a lot of my time going to technical workshops and just learning as much as I can. I ended up applying for a lot of apprenticeships. I didn't want to join a company too early and learn bad habits. I wanted to really get some technical mentorship starting out. So I came into IBM through the tech reentry program with a bunch of women with PhDs and master's degrees. For reference, my background was in healthcare. I studied foreign language and linguistics and was prepared to send out med school applications when I applied to go to a coding bootcamp. It was probably the best decision that I made, and I'm much happier now and more excited about the things that I'm doing. So one of the things I noticed, especially transitioning into my new role with my new team, is that we have all these really cool technologies and developer studios and things that people can use to build projects. However, what I noticed was I wasn't seeing as much information about deployment as I liked. So my goal over the next few months is to really focus on not only the content, but putting a lot of time and energy into step-by-step deployment for personal projects. So this is the first of those to come. So I hope you all enjoy, and we will figure this out together. So here's my information. So for myself and for the other two IBMers that are on this call, what I'd like to do is get all of us to get to know each other a little bit more. So I like to say what your name and title is, something you love, and then a quirk about yourself. So I will go first, and then I'll ask the other two IBMers to go as well. And then for all of you that are on the call joining also, if you can enter your information into the chat channel so we can learn a little bit about you. So my name is Jenna. I'm a developer advocate for IBM, and I love my dog. I have 3 little dogs, and they're just the best. And a quirk about me is I judge restaurants based on how well they make a tuna melt. So if I get a bad tuna somewhere, I probably won't go back. So that's just a little bit about me. So Mia, maybe if you'd like to go next, I'll bring up your information.
Sure. My name is Mia. I'm local to Austin. I'm also a developer advocate at IBM. Something that I love is birding or bird watching, just something I've recently fallen in love with. I just finished taking a birding class through the local birding society, and that's been a delight, even as it had to transition to online and Zoom meetings. And so a quirk about me is I have very mild prosopagnosia, which is face blindness. I have a hard time recognizing faces apart. You can imagine that makes it a little difficult when your job is meeting people, but I have my tricks. And yeah, that's just a little bit about me. If you're interested in face blindness, definitely Google it. If you've ever been like, wow, I feel like I have a harder time with faces than other people, you might be surprised to learn that you have it.
Very cool. And Steve, if you wanted to go too as well.
Sure. My name is Steve Clay. I'm the lead developer of the IBM Cloud Developer CLI, which you're going to be looking at here. Something I love to go mountain biking. And a quirk about me, gosh, I don't know, I'm a developer, so I'm full of quirks. So I don't know which quirk to share or which one's still a quirk anymore, but I'm sure I have plenty.
Very cool. Let's see. Where did the chat? I feel like I'm losing my mind here. Okay, cool. And then everybody else that's in the channel, if you want to share something about you, go ahead and share that in the channel. You can all get to know each other a little bit. No pressure. And I'm going to start sharing a little bit of information with you so we can all get started. So first and foremost, this is the link to this slide. I will be sending it out after this workshop today so that all of you have access to the information and can work through this later if you'd like. And have access to the feedback survey and signing up for IBM Cloud and things like that. So I just want to share this at the beginning. I do have resources to share at the end as well. So to get started, if you haven't already, if you could use this link to sign up for an IBM Cloud account. This is the link that will allow you to do that. Very cool. Looks like Gem has an exercise wheel for their cat. Interesting. I'd like to see that. Yeah, so just take a minute and get signed up for IBM Cloud if you haven't already. I'll give you just a minute to do that so that you can work through if you'd like. If you'd like to just watch, that's fine as well. Yes, Sudoku is very addicting. And while you are finishing signing up for IBM Cloud, you can select the free Lite tier option that will allow you to do anything you might be required to do in any of the workshops that we're doing that will be running in the next couple months. So it's the IBM Cloud free Lite tier account. That'll be the first option. It should be the default option, so you don't necessarily need to select it. This is what it looks like. Should be able to get started pretty quickly. Please disregard the link at the bottom of the slide. I need to delete that. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing you'll need to do is install the IBM Developer Tools CLI. So I have the curl command for Mac and Linux, and then I also have the command for Windows 10 Pro. And after you've installed those, you can go ahead and verify the installation by running the IBM Cloud Dev Help command. And then just for reference, I'm going to run through the slides and kind of introduce you to all of these commands and what you'll need to run. And then I will live code and run through them and show you exactly what you should be expecting in your terminal as you're working through this process. So that should be helpful. So next, you'll need to configure your environment by running the IBM Cloud login in terminal. If you plan to access Cloud Foundry services, which I will show you how to do, you'll run the IBM Cloud target --cf command. And just a little bit of what's going on behind the hood. So the installation command for installing the CLI tools is installing the latest standalone IBM Cloud CLI version, which actually has just been updated this past week, I found out. So I updated this as well. And it also is going to install for you Homebrew if you're running a Mac operating system, Git, Docker, Helm, Kubectl, curl for Linux, and then it also will install the IBM Cloud Functions plugin, which is something we're going to go over in a later workshop this summer as well. The IBM Cloud Object Storage plugin, the IBM Cloud Container Registry, and Kubernetes Service plugin as well, so that you can access those tool changes as well if you would like to deploy a project to Kubernetes cluster as well. So let's just get started and let's build a project. So I'm going to go over this and then I'm going to show you on the command line. So you have two options when you're creating an app from the IBM Cloud Tools CLI. You can create an app from a starter kit, or you can create an application from your own code. I will show you how to do both. So to create an app from the starter kit, you're going to run the following command in the directory of your choice. So I usually just create a new folder for my dev projects. So you can select just type into the command line, IBM Cloud Dev Create. I normally select backend web app service. It's normally the applications that I'm building, but you do have the option to choose a web application or a mobile application. So for the web applications, these are the languages that we have available. So we have Go, Java, Microprofile, Java Spring. We have, you can build a Node application, you can build a Python Django web application or a Python Flask application. And then you can also build a Swift application. So what you'll do is you'll select a starter kit to use as a basis for your application. You'll give your application a name, and then you'll select the resource group that you want to use. Optional, you can select a service to add to your application. So we're going to set up automatic deployment with the Cloud Foundry toolchain. So in selecting a deployment option, we are going to be choosing option 3, IBM DevOps deployed to Cloud Foundry build packs. And if you selected a DevOps deployment, like the Cloud Foundry toolchain that we're going to be using, we are going to have to select here. We have the choice between the Cloud Foundry build packs and the Helm-based Kubernetes containers. I'm going to show you the Cloud Foundry build packs. I'm also going to show you how to set up your SSH keys so you can complete this set so that you can access the toolchain. And then we will come back to this as well. So once we deploy an application from a starter kit, I will show you how to create an application from your own code as well. So I'm going to be using this Hello World dummy node application, but you can use any application. So this is how you would create an application from your own code. In terminal, you would run git clone your project. And then what you're going to want to do from within your project directory is you're going to want to enable the Cloud Tools CLI. And you can do that from within inside your project by running IBM Cloud Dev Enable. Now, apparently this has just been updated recently in the past week or so. So this command is still in beta and will only work for the following programming languages. So it looks like we have Liberty Java microprofile. We have a Spring Boot framework, Node.js, Python Flask, and Python Django. And looks like they also have Swift and Golang. So if you want to build a project, if you want to set up your project with the IBM Cloud Tools CLI and set up automatic deployment using Cloud Foundry and Kubernetes, these are the languages that will be supported at this point. And then you can also, using the starter kit or from within your own project, you can also create an application and manually deploy. So I'm going to run through how to create an application from a starter kit and opt out of automatic deployment as well. So I will show you this step where we make that designation. And if you choose to manually deploy, it's fairly simple. So if you create a new project from a starter kit, you're going to run IBM Cloud Dev Create. You're going to select an application, either a backend service web application or a mobile app. So again, I'm going to choose backend web service. I'm also going to choose Node application. You'll be prompted to enter a name for your application and then select the resource group that you want to use. And just like with the starter, just like with the automatic deployment options. So if you decide you would like to manually deploy and not use any of the tool chains, you'll select option 4, no DevOps with manual deployment. You can also go back and change this later, as I will show you. If you've already created an IBM Cloud application using the IBM Cloud Console, I have a list of steps that you can go back through to you can go back and edit your applications if you'd like to change from manual deployment to selecting deployment with one of the DevOps tool chains. Also, if your existing code is only locally and it's not yet being hosted in a Git repository, you can still set up your IBM Cloud application to be deployed to an IBM Cloud application as well. It doesn't necessarily need to be there yet. You can walk through the steps and get that set up and get that deployed. So once you have your application set up, you're going to want to build your application and get it running locally. So within your project, you'll just run IBM Cloud Dev Build. You can also debug your build after you run it. So first you'll want to compile your application running IBM Cloud Dev Build. And then you can run the following command in the app directory to start your application using IBM Cloud Dev Run. And then you can view your app that's running locally. There is a quick and easy way to do that I will show you as well. Just a pro tip, you can always combine the commands as well. So you can run IBM Cloud Dev Build Run to sequentially start a build followed by running your application. And then the next step will be you're going to deploy your application. So if we're deploying our app using the tool chain, oops. So I'm going to pull that up. I'm going to pull this up in the terminal. If we're deploying your app manually, you can run the IBM Cloud Dev Deploy command. If you have your application set up, once you have your application set up using the Cloud Foundry toolchain, like you'll see, any commits that you make to that project repo, the toolchain is automatically going to kick off those changes and deploy your application, redeploy your application. So it'll rerun the build and it'll redeploy your application. Just a note, you are going to want to make sure you're in your application before running any of the commands to make any changes to your application or deploy it. It may seem obvious, but you may try to run something and it doesn't work and not realize that you're not inside your application. An easy way to view that your application is deployed. There we go. This.
Are you trying to show the slide or something else?
Oh, I was just, I was hoping to that would get fixed. It's not getting fixed. That's okay. So I'll just show you in terminal. So the command that you'll run is so from within your project, regardless of how you deploy, if you run IBM Cloud Dev View, it will actually automatically open up your application in the web browser, and you'll be able to see your cloud deployed application. And your app will be live. So I'm going to run you all through. Here we go. Yeah, so to view the URL of your application, your IBM Cloud web application, you can run the IBM Cloud Dev View command from the app directory, and the URL will automatically open up in your browser. You can run the command IBM Cloud Dev Console from your terminal as well to find details about your app's credentials, services, and the tool chain that you're running if you have one selected. So we're going to go back, and I'm going to run through this with you all so that you can see how this works. Something that's very cool. Make this a little bigger so you can all see.
We're still seeing your slides.
Yeah, I'm just going to switch over.
Okay.
Here we go. And you see just my terminal now, correct?
Yes.
All right, cool. It's like a million options. Okay. So let me open up a new terminal. All right, cool. So with this. Okay. So, okay. All right. So the first thing that I'm going to want to do is log into my IBM Cloud account. So I'm going to run IBM Cloud login. And then you'll enter in your cloud account email and your password. I have two accounts here, but I want to select my personal account. Cool. So as you can see here, it says no resource group targeted, right? So I haven't assigned it a resource group. So one way that you can see which resource groups you have available is you can just run IBM Cloud resource groups. This will show me what I have available. So I only have one resource group and it's the default. So what I can do then is I can say IBM Cloud target. Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, target -G.
I think we're seeing the wrong terminal because we're not seeing the commands you're doing right now. We just see the commands that ran previously, it looks like.
All right, let me see. Sorry about that. Let me go back.
We're seeing Python Flask app.
Sorry. You know what? It doesn't like a new terminal. So let me go ahead and run through this. So let me get out of here.
Okay. Yep. Now we're seeing you type.
All right. Cool. Yeah. Sorry about that. You would think it would be for all of the terminal tabs. Okay. So first step, we're going to log into our IBM Cloud account. I'm going to enter in my IBM Cloud email. I'm going to enter my password. And thank you for letting me know. Okay. I'm going to select my personal account. You should only have one account, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. And as you can see here, I don't have a resource group targeted. So I want to assign a resource group. So what I can do here is if I want to see, for instance, if you have multiple projects or if your company has an account with you know, multiple organizations or departments that are building, you'll be able to designate which resource group you want to target. And you can view that by running IBM Cloud resource groups. So I only have one. So if you're working on a personal project, you'll probably only see one resource group. It should be the default. So now I want to, I'm going to want to select this resource group. So I can run IBM Cloud target-G and give it the name of the default group. Perfect. So now I've targeted default resource group. And then the next step is, so I want to access the Cloud Foundry toolchain so that I can set up automatic deployment for my application. So anytime I make a change to my application and whether I'm updating the UI or changing something on the back end, I want every time that I change something and I commit it to my project, I want it to automatically rerun the build and I want it to automatically deploy those changes to my cloud application. So I can do that by running the command IBM Cloud target --cf for Cloud Foundry. Cool. So now I can see my Cloud Foundry API endpoint. The org is just my email, and the space is dev. So if this is your personal account, you will see something similar. So the next thing I'm going to want to do is create a new project. So I'm going to run IBM Cloud Dev Create. So it's retrieving the available starter kits. So I want to build a web application. So I'll select number 1. Now I can select a language. So I'm going to go ahead and choose a Node application. So I want to start learning more about developing with Node. Let's see. I'm going to select a, let's see. I'm going to select, oh, just a second. Okay, cool. So I'm going to select a MERN stack. Name of my application. So I'm going to call this Node MERN application. Okay, do you want to select a service to add to this application? No. So we're not going to add any extra services to this application. Now here's the step I was talking about, where we can select from the following DevOps tool chains and target the runtime environment. So these are the options that we have. So I will be putting together some, another workshop where we will be looking at deploying to Kubernetes and OpenShift from the CLI as well. That will come in the near future. For now, what we're going to do is we're going to deploy to the Cloud Foundry build packs. So I'm going to select 3. And then what you're going to need to do next is you're going to need to select a region for your tool chain from the options below. So I work at the Austin campus, so I'm going to select the US South Dallas. Okay, so in order to successfully connect to the tool chain, you need to be configured for SSH access to your IBM Cloud GitLab account. So we're going to take a look at that. I'll show you what this looks like. So let me switch over here for just a second so you can see this. Don't worry, I am switching screens. Let's see. There we go. Took a second to update. Okay, great. So what it's asking you to do here is Okay, so you need to configure for SSH access to the Cloud GitLab, and it gives you the link to go to access that space within your IBM Cloud account in order to add or create a new SSH key. So, Steve, just for reference, we can generate a new, you don't necessarily need to use your SSH key, correct? You can generate a new one. Just
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can always generate a new one, or just use an existing one you have. It's completely up to the individual.
Okay, so I will show you how I found and used mine. Okay. Let me show you this. So you should have an SSH key, public key configured, possibly. If you have one, or if you want to check that you have one, let me share with you how to do that. So let me come out of this. Oops. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to do is take a look in here. Sorry. And I'm going to look over all this junk. I'm going to look over on the right-hand side and see if I have a .ssh key. Aha. So I have this here already. So I do have an SSH key, a public key that I've already set up. So how do I find out and see what that is, right? Like, these aren't necessarily things that you'll do every day in your day-to-day. So from your home directory, you can just run .ssh. Oops, sorry. That's my bad. You need to cd into your SSH. And then you can take a look at what's in there. So as you see here, I do have a public key that I've created already from a previous project doing something else that I've created. So what I'm going to want to do is I want to copy this key, and you might be asking, how do I do that? So you can run this command here. I will add these commands to the slides as well. I forgot to add these ones here. However, if you want to generate a new key, you can do that directly from the link on the page that we'll be going back to. There are directions in there to create a new key. So I'm going to run this command, my SSH key. Cool. So now I have that copied, and then the next thing I'm going to do, change this back over to here. Now that I've copied my key, I want to put it here in the keys. So, and I'll just use the default name that it gives. This is my my local SSH, my public key, my SSH key that I have here. And I'm going to just add this. I've already added this. So as you'll see here, for instance, if I generated a new key, I could save that as well. So you can have multiple keys saved here. So I already saved this key, so I'm not going to save another one. But if you need to generate a new key, you can do that from here. So once you have your keys, as your public key set up, let's go back to our project now. So assuming you have found your key, found your public key that you already have, or you've created a new one. So I can push enter now. So it's going to configure for SSH access and connect to the DevOps toolchain. So it's generating an API key for my application, and then it's also giving me the host name, automatically generated host name for this application. So I'll just accept that. I'm going to validate the host name. Give it just a second to figure out what it wants to do. I don't know about all of you, but my internet has been being throttled like crazy. I keep getting kicked off the network during the day. Very cool. So looks like we have a DevOps toolchain created. This is the link that it's created at. Now it's cloning our repository from our starter kit locally. Very cool. So let's check out this application. I didn't put it in a folder, so let's just look for it. There we go. Very cool. So now we're in our application, and we have set up the Cloud Foundry DevOps toolchain for automatic deployment. So what I want to do first is show you how you can make changes. So if I wanted to make changes to this application, let's say I selected deploy manually, and now I want to change, I've changed my mind and I want to deploy using one of the DevOps toolchains. I can do that and access that view in order to make those changes by running IBM Cloud Dev Edit. And now I'm back at a view we saw a little further back, where we could, where we're accessing now, we can look at the manual deployment files. If we've done that, we can manage services, or we configure continuous delivery. So I want to look at configuring continuous delivery. So I'm going to select one. And as you see here, we can open the tool chain for the app in the browser. So I'm going to make sure I'm going to select this option to open it in the browser, and then I will switch over to my browser so you can see what that looks like. You select this option, it's opening up. While it's opening up, switch here. So now this is the Node MERN application that I built from the starter kit. It has been deployed to IBM Cloud, and with the Cloud Foundry DevOps toolchain. And here we can see issues. We can see our code, any Git code we have here. And what we want to take a look at is the delivery pipeline, right? So because we've enabled the Cloud Foundry DevOps toolchain, it's going to automatically run our build. And I want to make sure you can see my screen.
Yeah, we're seeing your tool chain right now.
Okay, cool. So when I check on delivery pipeline, what you'll see here. So it had a success, passed the build, was successful, and it looks like it's the stage is running for deployment. So you can actually visually see the build and deployment stages here. You can see when they've passed, when they've been successful, and as you make changes to your application and you commit to your project, to your repository, the DevOps toolchain will run the build and redeploy automatically, so you don't have to worry about any of that. And I would like to show you, so while that's finishing running, let's just see, let's see here. And Steve, for instance, if I view the application now, would it be viewable while the deployment is still running, or I would have to wait for that to finish?
It needs to deploy first, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we'll just give that just a minute to finish, and then I will show you how to, from the command line as well, view your IBM Cloud deployed application.
Yeah, looks like it finished deploying just then.
Oh, there we go. Great.
LearnApp has multiple containers, so it takes a little bit longer than some of the other.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go back here. All right, so I'm done with that. Don't need to make any changes. I'm going to exit out. Okay. So now I want to view my application, and I don't want to have to remember where it's deployed to or what to put in the browser. So I'm just going to run IBM Cloud Dev View. This is not a Kubernetes deployed application, so I'll select no. And then just as it did with the DevOps toolchain, I'm going to go back here. Let me look here. Okay, view my hosted application here. Clear my cache real quick. Okay. Okay. And so when we run the command from the command line, it will open up our application. This is still loading. I think my internet is starting to fight back. I have another application that I rebuilt as well. This is struggling. So let me see if I can show you from my other application. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go into this Python Flask app that I have created earlier this week, and I'm going to run IBM Cloud Dev View. No. Okay. The other one is struggling a little bit, but I can show you from here. So essentially from the command line, I've opened up in my browser the deployed IBM Cloud application. And then we also have links here to the cloud, IBM Cloud App Services, ask me questions on Slack, anything you might be stuck on. You can install the IBM Cloud Developer Tools from the resources here as well. if you're running this from the command line, I'm assuming you already have those installed. And then also it has a link to train a model with IBM Watson Studio, which is actually something we're going to be doing at the end of the month as well. So essentially from the command line, in about a dozen or less commands run from your terminal. We've installed the IBM Cloud Developer Tools CLI. We have successfully created a new application from our starter kit, selected the languages we wanted to build our project in. We set up the DevOps toolchain using Cloud Foundry for automatic deployment of our application to IBM Cloud. And then we were able to edit and make changes to our application, and also view it pull it up in our view in the browser, all from the command line. I want to show you a few things. Let me see if, okay, so I'm gonna have to take a look at that. We're having some internet troubles. So a few things I want to share with you as well. Make sure you, okay, cool. So we were able to view our app locally. You can view details about your application's credentials, services, and the tool chain from the command line as well by running IBM Cloud Dev Console command. And congratulations. So if you've been working through this, or you're going to do this later on your own time, or watch this recording later, you have built an application from a starter kit, or you've deployed from your own application, your own project that you're working on at home. You've enabled the potentially enabled the DevOps toolchain with Cloud Foundry, and you have deployed your application to IBM Cloud in just a few simple steps. You didn't have to look for any URLs for where your app was deployed, or search around for keys or putting things into many places. Pretty straightforward. You can pretty much stay in terminal most, if not all of the time, if that's where you like to be. I prefer to be in terminal most of the time when I'm working on something as much as possible. And let's see, are there any questions or things that you would like to ask? I am going to share some resources and things with you, but I just want to give you all some time to ask some questions. Steve is here as well, and he works directly on the tool, and there are some new things in beta, which one of them I showed you. So we will, I'll continue to update this and share things with you as we have updates as well. So you can go ahead and put a question in the chat if you have one. There is one question about will the session recording be shared? I can share that all with you. It is being recorded. We are testing out streaming and all kinds of fun, complex, technical, extra pieces to these workshops now. So we are working it all out. You can either write a question, or if you'd like to unmute and ask it, you can go ahead and do that. If you have a question, no pressure. So if you don't have any questions, or take your time, we have plenty of time. Oh, here we go. We have a question. What is the current status of Bluemix?
So I can probably take that. So Bluemix, which is was IBM's public cloud for a number of years. About a year and a half ago, I think, was renamed to IBM Cloud. So basically, IBM Cloud today is what Bluemix was. And so there's still, if you go into the IBM Cloud console, there are more things there than what are in the dev plugin itself. The dev plugin supports the handful of languages you saw, which are kind of like the highest used languages. But there are other languages. There's other services too. There's a whole wealth of offerings there in the IBM Cloud console. And so with the command line, we focused on kind of what are the ones that are highest used is where they're at right now. But certainly interested in adding more if there's others that people would like to see.
Anyone else have any questions? Share the research, or at least share the slide with you so you can see while we're giving people a minute to think and form some questions.
Yeah, so SoftLayer, I don't consider myself an expert in SoftLayer, but SoftLayer is really integrated into IBM Cloud. Would be probably the most I can say about it, because I haven't spent a whole lot of time in looking at that part of the architecture. But yeah, SoftLayer you can think about as it's embedded within IBM Cloud.
I did want to share with you, so very last slide here has the link to access all of these slides. I have the link for the IBM Cloud sign up here as well. I have a short survey if you would like to fill out as well. The more feedback, the better. I take all of your feedback, I go through it, I add and update things, I make changes. I like to go back and iterate over workshops and improve them each time we do them, and as we're working out all the technology pieces right now. It'll be helpful, and find out a little bit about you, what kind of technologies you would like to see in future workshops, maybe what other technologies outside of IBM you would like to see projects worked out in tangent with, and maybe how to use some other APIs and things. I'd be putting together some projects for later this year too. Show you how to use tools and tools such as Postman and things like that, so you can deploy applications and test responses from APIs you want to integrate into projects and things like that. Okay. So if there, and if you'd like to ask a question out loud, you can do that too. You don't necessarily have to type it in the chat. But yeah, that is that should get you started and building your first application from a starter kit and deploying to IBM Cloud, or enabling the tool CLI from inside your project, and getting it deployed to IBM Cloud as well. All of those steps are in the slides. Anything that's not clear, please feel free to leave a message in the feedback survey. I'll be happy to clarify, add a picture, anything you need. We'll be building on this specific content in the future soon as well. But I just want to thank you all for taking the time to come out and learn a little bit, maybe deploy a project or get started. I know things are really crazy, and I hope this was a nice break from whatever you're all dealing with at home. And just want to say, as much as possible, give yourself the space and the freedom to relax. Take time for yourself. Don't try not to be too stressed, and take your time. Like I said, I will be sending out all of the resources and slides and information after as well. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, or you can ask questions on the Slack channel as well. I will send everything out to you, and I just hope you all have a good evening and that your weeks are going well and get better. And anything else, anything we can do to help, just let us know. And thank you all for being here. I'm going to leave this open for just a few minutes in case anyone has any last minute questions or anything. Yeah, thank you. Thank all of you for coming. Hopefully this has been helpful in at least one way. Good. I'm glad. Hopefully you all met someone, either maybe from your geo, maybe from your region, maybe not. Looks like we have some IBMers in here. Looks like from all over, East Coast, West Coast. Some international, very cool. Yeah, and feel free to take time now to fill out the feedback survey if you like. It's pretty short. Just get an idea of where you're at, what you'd like to learn. Are there any non-technical questions that anyone has? Any personal, professional, curious to know type questions? Feel free to ask those as well. You can unmute and just ask them if you'd like. And just a reminder, I have 2 more workshops this month. Blockchain for developers, and then we'll be doing an auto AI at the end of the month as well. So showing you around Watson Studio and how to create some custom data models using IBM Watson. So I'll send all that out as well. I'll be experimenting with some different formats for workshops and live streaming as well. So any input or any preferences, feel free to share on the feedback survey as well. Let's see. Yeah, thank you all for coming. So if you don't have any last questions, I'm going to go ahead and close things out. And the session is being recorded. It is available on my YouTube channel as well. I'll make sure that the link is provided for you in the follow-up email that I'll be sending out with everything. So just want to thank you all for coming, and I hope you all have a great night. And tomorrow is Friday. Have a good weekend. Don't do anything that makes you think too much, and just take care of yourself and stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a great night.